Chill, that got me to thinking. There is a bunch of guys at 135 that need to be matched up. So I figured it's time for some matchmaking. And look, Chill, before I had a piece of paper that I would matchmake on, now got an iPad, ladies and gentlemen.
High-tech Daniel, I love it.
We have stepped the game up. What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of Good Guy, Bad Guy. I'm Daniel Cormier. That's the bad guy, Chael Sonnen. What's up, Chael P?
Good morning, Daniel. I'm off to a great day. Forrest Molinaro debuted. It turned out that Figueiredo, what he's going to do at 135 is a little bit up in the air. I thought Yan looked great. I got a lot of things to get to you with today.
Okay, but before we start, so I come across this show. Have you ever heard of this show, Frasier?
Of course.
Dude.
Kelsey Grammer.
Oh, my God. What an amazing show. They rebooted it. I guess I watched it back in the day because it was familiar. Different cast, same thing. But this is where the story changes. I'm having a conversation and I'm watching Frasier. And they go, "You're very weird." I said, "Why?" They said, "Well, you're watching Frasier." And I was like, "Well, why is that weird?" They go, "You're black." So they said to me, "Ask any of your friends if they watch Frasier." So I go down this rabbit hole of all my friends and nobody watches Frasier. Is that weird that I watch Frasier and I'm a black guy, Chael? Is Frasier for you as Martin is for us? I'm just wondering because it's a great show.
Everyone loved Martin. Now that you bring it up, and I never would have thought of this, I don't know a black man named Frasier. I mean, I have never met one. The great Joe Frazier, that was a last name, but I didn't meet him. Yes. I would not think of Frasier as white only, however, yeah, I probably wouldn't have predicted Frasier for you, and I might be because you're black. Thank you for bringing me into this extremely awkward conversation. Yes, I think I'm going to exit now.
Thank you, Chael. Thank you, Chael. So, yes, I lost a bet because I thought that most of my friends did, mainly because we only had 3 channels and Frasier played on one of them. So that's kind of why I watched Frasier. Anyway, Chael, when I wasn't watching Frasier, and I will die on that sword that it's a great show, I was watching the UFC last week from Macau, China. Petr Yan is fighting against Deiveson Figueiredo. It was a great fight card. It was in the middle of the night, and I was up watching it because Petr Yan, to me, is must-see TV. Dude goes out there and fights a beautiful fight. He looked like he was when he was the champion off of a surgery. How good is Petr Yan still today whenever he's healthy and when he's on his game?
Let's start at this. Dana White has some kind of a relationship with Macau, whether that's with the audience or higher officials, but he brings some of his finest work to Macau. If you ever hear that a UFC is coming to Macau, just know there's something special. This main event did not get the credit it deserves. It was a world champion versus a world champion. One from 125 pounds, one from 135 pounds. That's as close to a super fight as you get. So when these guys go out there, I had a little inside scoop, and I got to tell you this, I met with Figueiredo, and he had no English, but Captain E was there. We conversed back and forth, and when the whole thing ended, Daniel, I gave him the old pat on the back. I patted him on his back. I'm talking Deiveson here. It was like putting my hand on a brick wall. This man was nothing but muscle, and I wished him luck, but I really did think for someone that's got to get locked in there with him, that's a hard night out. And to see Yan behave in that manner, to see Yan as a former world champion who wants nothing more than the opportunity to win that world title back, that is a very different mountain to climb. He is climbing it one round at a time. Daniel, I thought he looked as close to perfect in this contest as you can get.
You know, this guy, Petr Yan, when he was at his best, I remember we'd watch him. And every time he'd fight, we'd get back to the next day and we'd wonder, how do you describe what you just saw? Because he was always a slow starter. The first round is always really close. But then he starts to get going, and then he would just pull away. It was like the moment he got an idea of what he was facing, he became unbeatable. Until Aljamain Sterling beat him that second time. First time, Petr Yan, think about this, Chill. If not for that disqualification, he was well on his way to beating Aljamain Sterling, and he would have moved on. Aljo would have never became the champion. But he hits him with that knee. Aljo then makes the adjustments and beats him in the rematch. He could still, today, potentially have been the UFC champion because he was that good. His boxing looked amazing. His wrestling and grappling is amazing. And when he's on point, he's as good as anyone in the world. And we spoke about this last week. It's not like he was losing to bums. He lost a very competitive fight to Sean O'Malley that many thought he won. Merab Dvalishvili had to take 50 takedown attempts just to slow him down enough to beat him without striking at all. He still is one of the best. But after the fight, he goes in there and he does what he's supposed to do, because now he's won 2 in a row, right? He beat Song Yadong in a very good fight. Then he beat Deiveson Figueiredo. And as a former champ, you don't have a long road to travel in order to get a title fight. He calls out the champion Merab Dvalishvili. Is that something you'd be interested in when they just fought a couple years ago?
Yes. I mean, in short, the answer is yes. I believe in that division. We're going to follow through with the current plan, which is to get Nurmagomedov a title shot as quickly as we can. And therefore, I do think that Yan might have been smarter to circumvent that. I love the idea of a call-out, partner, but one thing that can't happen in a call-out is that you get ignored. Even if the person laughs at you, that's better than silence. And I just think he might have been a little better to go for Nurmagomedov. I do not believe Yan, even after this beautiful performance, is going to cut the line into what people are going to find out is a rematch and do it against Merab. I just don't think so. But I do think he could have got in Nurmagomedov's wheelhouse. And not to mention, where Nurmagomedov is a little bit of a mystery. He was supposed to, it was announced he was going to fight for the title. Then without any announcement of an illness or an injury, all of a sudden he gets placed on a December card, of which I found out this morning he's been removed from that card.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I was like, is he really fighting against, I had no idea.
No clarity.
We're
not getting the clarity there.
They were going to put him in there with who? Who was the guy that they were going to put Nurmagomedov was going to fight?
Right.
Who was he going to fight against? I can't remember.
That guy.
Yadong. Song Yadong.
Right.
He's going to fight Song Yadong. And I was like, why? Doesn't make any sense. And then now you're telling me that that's not happening anymore.
It's not happening. And so it appears there's an availability. And not to mention, I think that you get credit. I think you get a strength within the community if you just call out Nurmagomedov. Nobody wants to fight him. The champion doesn't want to fight him. The champion became the champion, called out 2 other guys, but they weren't him. I think that might have been a better play for Yan, and it adds to parity. We don't really want rematches unless there's world titles on the line. If we don't have to do a rematch, let's not do it. I think that Yan might have gone in the wrong direction, but I think he's special, and I loved everything else about his performance.
I love what he did. I love the call out because you shoot for the stars. It feels like there's one more. It feels like he's going to have to fight one more time. What I would have done, I would have probably called out Sean O'Malley. And guys, we're getting back to matchmaking later, right? So I'm going to matchmake this bantamweight division for you. But knowing that he probably needs one more fight, I don't know that I would have called the champion out. I agree with you. Say, hey, I want to fight Umar. Because Umar, as it would seem, would be willing to fight even before the title. Because he was matched up to fight before the title. At least that's what it seemed like. Call him out. Be the guy that calls out the boogeyman. He is so good, Chael. You eliminate all the challengers, then you make yourself undeniable. There's nobody else to fight. You have to fight for the belt. That's the way it is. This guy, with his boxing and his skill level, he can compete with all these guys. But he will need one more fight. And I don't know that fight is what was going to earn him a title fight. But you know what was the most interesting thing to me? We talked about this right after Merab won. He won that belt, and we said he went into business for himself. He started calling out this dude and this dude and this dude. He had a date for Petr Yan. How can Merab be saying this, Chael, when Umar is lined up, he's packaged, he's hand-delivered, and Merab went through this? Why is he saying what's going on with Merab Dvalishvili that he's not saying, okay, Umar, it's me and you?
Yeah, well, and Daniel, your question is not rhetorical, in that there isn't an answer. I've asked these same things. I've gone right to Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley's personal life, they're trying to go in a direction of Sandhagen. The problem is O'Malley was just champion. He thinks it was controversial loss in the first place, and the only one that was supposed to jump in front of him was Nurmagomedov, who has been removed. So if you're in O'Malley's shoes, by O'Malley math, he's saying that brings me right back into a title fight with Merab, a fight that Merab also agrees to, that Merab has also accepted. And I just feel like, Daniel, there's some kind of piece missing. I was really hoping that you could answer it, because when all of a sudden Nurmagomedov got the placement in December in a main event on a non-pay-per-view, That domino effect told us a lot of things about that division, but now that fight is pulled. We don't know if that was pulled due to illness or injury either. We don't know if they're going to take that fight. Go back 2 weekends, we had Eric Anders versus Chris Weidman. The company and the organization, the fans like that fight so much, they're just going to take it and they're going to move it to a different date. That doesn't appear to be what's going on with Nurmagomedov. So if Nurmagomedov gets booked in a fight that's not for a title, it's very difficult to come out and argue he's the only one that can fight for a title. It's like, well, not according to a piece of paper that you gave him a week ago that says he's fighting some other guy in some other event where no title's even going to be in the building. So I do think it's fair game. I think it's fair game for Merab to do what he's supposed to do, which is get the biggest paycheck against the easiest opponent. I'm just thinking now with Deiveson Figueiredo removed from that, we might be looking back at Yan. And Daniel, that's not where I would have predicted. I mean, if you took a poster and you put O'Malley versus Figueiredo, or you put Merab versus Figueiredo, I think the audience is going to go, wow, something's happening here. I'm not sure that poster and that visual component has the same effect if it has Nurmagomedov on it. I'm just not certain that he's well enough known. I'm sold on the skills. I would never argue with the unblemished record, but having fan appeal and getting those masses, if he's signed to fight somebody that no belt was involved, we can no longer use the argument he's undefeated, he must fight for the belt.
So little bit, you're aligned with the idea that like some of these guys are like, your last name has allowed for you to jump the line. Do you agree with that? That because he's a Nurmagomedov, but I mean, this guy is undefeated, chill. He's fought everyone they put in front of him. It really is like Islam. Do you remember the problems Islam had fighting inside of the top 5 before he got to a championship opportunity? It feels like very similar to Umar. Umar just beat Sandhagen too, who is unbelievably good. It can't be the name, chill, that's earning him this championship opportunity.
Sure. Listen, Khabib has never pulled that card on anybody. That team has never pulled that card. That team, when they make their arguments, they do have a system to make the arguments. They look at records. They look at rankings. They look at what their guy has done versus what the competition has done. And once they decide, hey, listen, for the integrity of the sport and the purity of this game, I truly am deserving. That's the only time that they ever step up. And to act as though they'll take their ball and go home, again, I'm making a lot of a fight that got canceled, but the mere fact that Nurmagomedov was promised publicly a title shot, but signed to fight in a non-title, non-pay-per-view event shows you where his mind is at. He's a team player. He wants competition. If competition leads to wins, to victories, to titles, to championships, fair play. But I only suggest for you, when someone out of Khabib's team speaks up and says, I'm number one and I should be number one, if you go look at the body of work, they really do have a good formula behind that statement. And Nurmagomedov definitely could fight for a title, but he's missing one thing, the interest of the current champion. I think that Merab is right to go out and speak up. Merab's not asking for something easy to do. He's asking for O'Malley. He's asking at one point for Figueiredo. He's willing to take on Yan. He's just saying, I like to fight a guy that's a little bit more known. That's a reasonable argument. It's not going to hold up, but it's a reasonable argument.
He's going to need help. Like, so Merab Dvalishvili, if he knows, or if he's smart, knows that he'll need help to sell as a champion. Chill, it doesn't matter if you get pay-per-view points if you don't sell no pay-per-views. It doesn't matter, right? You can get pay-per-view points all you want, but you got to sell pay-per-views. He knows that he's going to have to fight someone that helps him sell pay-per-views. I'm not sure he thinks that Umar is that person yet, but I don't know if Petr Yan is that person yet. So it's a matter of what does Merab want to do? Chill, that got me to thinking. There is a bunch of guys at 135 that need to be matched up. So I figured it's time for some matchmaking. And look, Chill, before I had a piece of paper that I would matchmake on, now I've got an iPad, ladies and gentlemen.
High-tech Daniel, I love it.
We have stepped the game up. So Chill, for the title, I will speak the matchup. You tell me your thoughts if you agree or disagree. Matchup, easy. Merab versus Umar. Yes?
Yes, I agree with that. That was the plan of the organization. I just think when they made that statement, We also are only as good as the information we have. Part of that information is Sean O'Malley was going to sit out for up to a year. He had an injury with the labrum. He said he wanted a rest. If O'Malley had not said that and was right back, I think we could look at him for an immediate rematch. The problem I've got with Nurmagomedov, somebody had an idea that he not fight for that belt, and he agreed. He went and signed to a fight that even if it's canceled, it still means that's not the only option. That's the only thing we can do. No, it means that there's options out there. There is room for conversation, but ultimately, yes, I do agree with you.
You know, it's kind of like, it seems like the weight class almost matches itself, partly due to rankings. But there's one little, so then I go Yan versus Sandhagen as my second fight, Chill. Because then it gives you a clear number one contender, right? Petr Yan beats Corey Sandhagen after beating Song Yadong, after beating Deiveson. You can't deny him. If Sandhagen comes back and he beats Petr Yan, a former champion, after losing to Umar, why wouldn't he fight for the belt? Being he would be one of the only guys that had not fought Merab Dvalishvili if he beats Umar Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, great fight. I will share with you a voice within MMA, a guy you might have heard of named Ariel Helwani, is making a very big push to get Sugar Sean O'Malley against Sandhagen. So I just offer for you, I like that fight. I think the people are really going to love that fight. I don't know that I love the idea of taking Sean, that was the biggest star and a world champion, and putting him in a fight that's very difficult, and by the way, doesn't necessarily get him any closer to a world championship opportunity. I'm just not sure that somebody of Sean's magnitude would agree to it. I like what you're saying. I'll just see that, and I'll raise you a Sandhagen versus O'Malley as the top idea that's currently being pursued.
Okay, my thought on that one, honestly, is this. Sean O'Malley needs a big fight, right? You know who else needs a big fight? Henry Cejudo. These guys have a beef, an easy beef to sell. Henry Cejudo is a former champion, Olympic gold medalist. I say put Sean O'Malley in there with the former champion Henry Cejudo. That means more than a win over Corey Sandhagen, while maybe not being as difficult as it would have been a few years ago. So now you're working towards getting your golden goose back in play in probably a matchup that's less dangerous to him than the Corey Sandhagen matchup.
I see your Olympic gold medal. I see your world championships, and I raise you the state of Arizona. How have these three stayed apart? Now I'm pulling Dominick Cruz into it, but how have we got Cejudo, Cruz, O'Malley, all former world champions, all from the state of Arizona, and they're not quite finding each other? And Dominick Cruz has been going after Henry as hard as he can for as long as he can. I just think to break up the monotony there, bring in an O'Malley. That thing has everything on it. We got three former champions. There aren't divisions that have three former champions floating and lurking in the division somewhere when they come away from the title. This has got three bang, bang, bang from the same state. We got to get O'Malley, Henry, Dominic, any way you want to do it. We got to get that round robin played out.
You know, for me, I believe that this weight in this, I haven't learned exactly how to make the font bigger, Chael. Because again, I'm working here, Chael. I'm working here. But after we go O'Malley versus Cejudo, I don't know how to make the font bigger, Chael. I mean, I got this iPad thing. I don't know how to make the font bigger. But as I go down, can you see it, Chael?
No, of course I can't. No.
Can you guys see that? I am going.
What do you think? I have X-ray vision or something? If I could see that, I would just have telepathy. I'd just read it right off your head. You just think it. No, of course I can't see that.
Chael, by me putting this here, this is the beauty of TV. They will take this and make it in big letters on the screen, super black, to where everybody can see it, right? So now,
you hope. So you hope, the magic of TV. But give me a hint anyway. What names you got on there?
Yes. So now after that, hey, I'm going Figgy versus Dominick Cruz, because Dom said he wants one more. And my last one, Chael, we got to give Mario Bautista a chance. He just beat Jose Aldo. He's got to get a chance in the top 5. I'm giving him Chito Vera. So my last two, Chael, and I want you to speak on those, Cruz versus Figgy, Bautista, another guy from Arizona, versus Marlon Chito Vera because he gets his opportunity. This dude's undefeated in the UFC, I think, and he just beat Jose Aldo.
Batista, Marlon Vera, done. In my opinion, done. I think that you probably just made a fight. When our audience hears that, I'm quite sure they'll take to social media and really get behind you. But you said something very interesting. You said Deiveson Figueiredo versus Dominick Cruz. I like that.
I like it.
You have two former world champions just floating around a division. Daniel, there is 9 world champions. It's going to blow your mind. 9 world champions that I could produce off the top of my head without even phoning a friend or calling in Andrew. 9 world champions are floating around the 135-pound weight class. I love the idea of getting 2 former champions together. Dominick Cruz versus Figueiredo. I mean, that has never been discussed. Dominick is looked at as more of a veteran, but one thing about that, Dominick only takes really hard fights. Daniel, I love that idea.
Can you believe Dominick Cruz still just refuses to get a layup? He wants hard fight after hard fight after hard fight. So here we go. As we have broken down the bantamweight division, we're going Umar versus Merab for the belt. We are going Corey Sandhagen versus Petr Yan in what is essentially a number 1 contenders fight, but with our eyes still on Sugar Sean O'Malley. Then we have O'Malley versus Cejudo. We are answering that age-old beef that these guys hate each other. They can't stand each other. It is what it is. Then we're going Figgy versus Cruz, and we're going Mario Bautista gets an opportunity to fight Marlon Chito Vera. But yeah, Chill, when you say you have all these champions, hell, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on my list.
Sure.
Dude, on this list of 10 fights, there are 6 former world champions in this weight class. And people give me crap about saying that bantamweight may just be the toughest weight class in the entire division. That's ridiculous. Like, when you have that many champions, it has to be.
Sure. No, it's one of those, it really does need looked at. All those guys get so hungry. You know, the mentality of being a champion, losing it, and trying to climb back. Like, that is not a physical exercise. That is a mental exercise. And it can only be done one day at a time. You got to get through that practice. To get through practice, you got to show up and get on the mat and get your warm up in. I mean, everything, it just really breaks down. The reason I say that, one thing that's probably tough for our matchmakers to get that lineup that we just discussed signed is there's not necessarily a fight away from the fight of the title that's guaranteed number 1 contendership. All of those matches would be argued. If you look good here, you could fight for the title, man. It is just really iron on top of iron. I think it's one of the reasons that Merab has such a responsibility. One of the reasons Merab can feel so good about himself as being the king of that mountain. But the trade-off with that is he's got to be giving opportunities to the right guy. That's the only reasonable thing that you can do, because someday he won't have that belt. I'm talking about Merab, but he would like a chance to get the belt back. So you got to make sure when you're on top making the calls, you make the right ones so you have those favors returned to you someday.
He actually was that guy on the opposite side, but he's got to be the Intercontinental Champion. He cannot be the world champ. He's got to be the working man's champ. Hey, like Macho Man Randy Savage was. Every Saturday night's main event, every Monday night, every Thursday night, the Macho Man was out there defending that belt. Just, he changed the game. He was my favorite. I know he was a bad guy. He was easily my favorite wrestler. Now, Chill, speaking of champions, Jon Jones says he's back at camp. But if I know Jon Jones, I saw him at an event the other day. Did you see it? He was dancing. He's not in camp. But okay, this is the conversation we're having. He said he's back in camp already. Said he's ready for 2025. Is it Tom Aspinall? If he's getting ready and he's back in 2025, is it Tom Aspinall?
Yes. Yes, but while John is working somewhat hard to make sure it's not Tom, part of that is a troll. Part of that is John likes to have fun. But Tom is believing it. I mean, Tom is working double and triple time to secure that match. He hasn't promised it. Now, I've made a big deal. I was wrong at one point, got my correct information that Tom had been stripped, that Tom is no longer our interim champion. Apparently, he still is. But if Tom is an interim champion, then what's John? Because everybody says he's the undisputed champion. That is not possible. That is not possible to have two and one of them's in undisputed. So the question becomes, if Tom is in fact disputing that, then they must fight. I mean, we follow the rules we make up as we go. But one thing we do know, history says the interim champion is the #1 contender. But right now, he's not. We're having a discussion. And that's the part where I get a little bit annoyed, quite frankly.
Love it.
Yeah, it gets a little bit annoying. And if those guys are going to fight, and of course they are going to fight, that's the only fight that's even going to be offered to Jon. He can either retire or fight. According to himself, he's in training camp, which means by virtue of proxy that he's agreed to fight Tom. That's what it means. There is no other offer that's going to come. And the UFC isn't without leverage here. If they kept the belt around Tom, it's to let Jon know it's no problem to pull that one off your waist. We got another one sitting right over here. We got world champions are real easy to make over here at the UFC. That's the attitude, at least. So we got everybody pulling their guns, nobody pointing them down. It's going to be Jon and Tom, but this negotiation of back and forth, it's still hot.
But chill, Jon said he'd be okay just giving Tom the belt.
Right.
You know what the thing about that is, though? Man, Jones, like you said, he's trolling a little bit. He's also very smart because he knows that if he never gives Tom the opportunity, every time Tom walks out that octagon with that belt, there will be a question hanging over his head. Well, you never beat Jon Jones. Don't matter if you beat this guy and that guy. How are you the champion if you never beat Jon Jones? Jones knows that. So honestly, if Jones is trying to pull the ultimate troll, he doesn't fight Tom Aspinall. And he lets Tom run this division for as long as Tom can run this division and live with that over his head. Well, you never beat Jon Jones. Yeah. So are you really the champion? It's like that's what it would seem Jones would do because there is a lot of risk in him fighting Tom Aspinall. I didn't know it initially. I still don't know if I believe it as strongly as some do, but I do believe that this guy is tough. I mean, he's like 8 years younger than Jones. He's huge. He's got a lot of great skill to give him problems, but if anybody can figure it out, it's Jon Jones.
Yep.
But
hey, I like the way you said it. I just do want to set the table for our audience very clearly. It is not a matter of will Jon fight Tom or will Jon fight someone else. I'll let you know the UFC stance. Jon has two choices. You fight Tom or you do not fight.
Well, Dana said it.
Nobody else that's going to be offered. In fact, we've got a name that came off the board in terms of Alex Pereira. Dana put that to absolute rest. And when the odds makers put it as 6-1 spread favoring Jones, that fight is gone. So Jon can sit out and not fight. That's true. But he's not going to be in a spot where he could fight someone else. It's basically retire. It's fight Tom Aspinall. Those are your choices, and Jon is not retired. I know that because he put out a video on Instagram last night that said he's already in the gym. Well, if you're in the gym and you're training, you only got one thing to train for. Captain Obvious here. Those two are going to fight.
Chael, you know, Dana said it. Dana goes, if Jon wants to fight again, it'll be against Tom Aspinall. He flat out said that, and that was interesting to see because they've been pretty aligned lately, Jones and Dana have. And that was the first time, and I'm not saying they're not aligned or in unison. I'm saying that was the first time Dana goes, no, it's Tom Aspinall. And then he goes, if he fights Alex, he's just going to take him down, right? He's bigger. He kind of knows, and that's like, you can't trick the public, right? You can't trick the public into thinking that Alex is gonna not struggle with the wrestling of Jones. Jones, like he fought last week, would not fight Alex Pereira that way. He would take him down right away. Hell, chill. I'm 45 and retired. If they said, DC, you got 6 months to fight Alex Pereira, I'd be shooting on him from the moment they said wrestle or fight. I'd just keep wrestling the whole time to hope to not get hit by this dude. Chill. Jon Jones is gonna fight Tom Aspinall. He's not going to retire, and it's gonna be fantastic. But Jon Jones holds all the cards here. He's the champion. He's as big and bright a shining star as he's ever been because that fight in Madison Square Garden was amazing. I need to know, though, does this happen before International Fight Week? Because when I look at the calendar and I see how the last 2 years of work, Miami would be, right? He had Vegas, beautiful, but he's done that. He had New York. For the first time, it felt like a star was headlining the Garden. Miami, we had Izzy, we had O'Malley. Miami's a great city for fights. Why not Jon Jones in Miami?
I love the idea. Is Miami on the calendar?
Like I don't know if it's there yet. It's kind of become like a thing we do every year in April, yeah?
Sure. Sure. No, I love where your head's at. I mean, this is going to be the biggest heavyweight fight that we've ever had. It's going to compete for the biggest fight we've ever had. And the reason I say that, the massive fights do take place only in a couple of cities. Miami would fit the bill, but there's also a couple of dates. Super Bowl weekend, for example, used to be the perennial show of the UFC.
Yes.
It still is very big, but it has been replaced with International Fight Weekend, where we reserve the absolute biggest fight of the year, at least in theory.
We used to have that Memorial Day one. Remember Memorial Day weekend was a big one?
So I'd be looking for International Fight Weekend on an over-under, but Daniel, I think I'm on the under. I think we're going to get these guys in here as quickly as we can. I think the turnaround's going to be as quick as it can. We don't got a lot of Jon Jones. We haven't seen a lot of Aspinall. What is the point of keeping two guys in their prime on the shelf? If they want to fight one another, get the piece of paper out, come up with a date, and let's do the fight.
Let's get these boys a number, man, and get them locked inside that octagon. Boy, to go to South Beach, chill, and to think. You could go to South Beach without security this time. Nobody's chasing you. No Nate Diaz lurking. Nobody's trying to bully and beat you up this time. You could be safe in South Beach this time, Jill.
George Masvidal. Nate Diaz would have had my back. George Masvidal was the one. He was the one they were protecting.
It was George. It was George, yeah. In his city. So you might still be in town because Masvidal lives there. All right, Jill, we have no show on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. What is that thing? In the household, in the Sonnen household, when Miss Brittany puts on her apron and she starts to cook, what's on the Sonnen Thanksgiving plate? Let me have it.
All of your traditional things, you're going to have stuffing. Somebody will put yams on the table because somebody else said you're supposed to put yams. They will not be touched, particularly the candy ones, but they will have a seat at the table. The staple.
You don't like candy yams? Stop.
That's right.
Let you go forward if you don't like candy yams. Are you crazy?
I cannot stand the candy. I don't even get the idea of taking a vegetable and putting a marshmallow on it. I don't get any of the idea. I don't even know anybody that eats the candy yams until apparently I'm finding out you do.
Dude, they're the best.
Are you going to tell me you eat the green bean casserole too?
Ooh, my family likes the green bean casserole. I don't like the green bean casserole. But the candied yam, chill, with the brown sugar and it's all melted over. Oh, you know me, chill. Hey, even some of the some people put nuts, little pecans, like some pecans on it. Ooh, let me tell you something. Candied yams is next level. That is a staple. And to say that you don't have them, somebody's gonna put it on your table and they will go untouched by the entire family.
Untouched. They will sit there. And I never want to draw candy yams. Like if we were doing like the potluck style, I don't want to draw them because I know nobody's going to eat them. I got 74 people that will be at Thanksgiving. I got a big family with a bunch of cousins and the cousins got kids and we've all grown up. 74 people. Nobody's touching the candied yams.
Oh, God, that's crazy.
Now the mashed potatoes and gravy, on the other hand, is likely to run out.
The turkey, how's the turkey? The turkey's good?
Turkey's
it a fried
great.
Turkey or is it a baked turkey?
And Daniel, the bigger thing, you want to have some real, it's called air bread, but a real wimpy white bread with some mayonnaise, a little lettuce and tomato. Because end of the night, that late night turkey snack, that's what it's all about. All the work
mayonnaise
that goes
on
into
bread?
Is for that late night snack.
You're eating mayonnaise, just mayonnaise and bread.
Yep.
Man,
sometimes one piece of bread, I'll throw it in there and fold it like it's a taco.
Oh my God.
Make myself 4 or 5 of them. Oh yeah.
So some mayonnaise on bread. Just bread and mayonnaise is crazy. All right.
With tomato.
At mine?
I'm not crazy.
You're very crazy, Chill. I'm having turkey. Not fried, though. I don't like fried turkey. I think fried turkey gets oily whenever it gets cold. When it's hot, though, it's really good. So I'm having a traditional turkey. Always a ham. Always a ham, right? I'm a big meat guy. I will have Louisiana dirty rice. Rice dressing, we call it. That's good. Hey, a macaroni and cheese casserole. That's mine. Macaroni and cheese casserole. Some candied yams, got it. Candied yams. Hey, Dorito salad. It's a Dorito salad. It's amazing. Potato salad, which is another thing that I don't eat, but it has to go on the table. So my plate is, there's a lot on our plates. But I'm eating usually the rice, the macaroni and cheese, the yams, and the turkey with a small piece of ham. I'm not a big ham guy. Will you tell me the ingredients or a rough list, what goes into Dorito salad? That I am interested in. It's very interesting. So you have the salad, right? Make your salad as normal. Crush Doritos in it. It gives it a little crunch. It is, hey, it's an amazing salad. What kind of dressing? Your choice.
Really?
I still use a little Thousand Island, but you could use a ranch. You could use the blue cheese, whatever you want. All the salads work with the Dorito salad. It's
Doritos
good.
in place of croutons, essentially. I will remember that.
Doritos in place of croutons.
Sure.
Essentially. Those. Everybody at ESPN right now is stealing our recipe. But chill, it is a great. And my turkey, I don't know how it's never dry. I once had the driest turkey that I've in a house of a family member of someone else of the other side. It was the driest turkey ever. Are you a dark meat guy or a white meat guy on the turkey, Chill?
I always go with white meat, but I like the dark meat because it's juicier. My father would only eat dark meat. I'll do the white meat, but I also like to put a little gravy on my turkey. That freaks some people out. Some people think that the only thing that should have gravy on it is the mashed potatoes. I disagree. Yeah. I like it on the stuffing. I like it on everything. I like to mix them together like a little kid. Maybe put a scoop of corn in there if you're lucky enough. I love Thanksgiving.
I love Thanksgiving. It really is my favorite show. And then I get up in the morning. The first thing that little Daniel and I do, we go out to the football field and we play Turkey Thanksgiving with all of his football team before you go and you eat your Thanksgiving lunch. Guys, that's Chael and I's Thanksgiving. We hope that you have a great Thanksgiving. Chael, before we go, hey, people, you guys have been watching. We are so thankful, Chael and I, for all the support that you give us. It has been amazing. And as always, get us wherever you get your podcasts, ESPN Plus 2, ESPN MMA YouTube. For the bad guy, I'm Daniel Cormier. That's Chael. Peace. Chael, you know what I do the next day with whatever turkey I have left? Turkey gumbo the next day.